Ever wondered what happens to your wastewater if you're off-grid and not connected to the main sewer network? It doesn't just disappear, it's usually handled by a septic tank. But if you install it wrong, you could be looking at costly repairs, environmental damage, or even legal trouble. Hi, I'm Callum from GRAF UK, and in this video we're going to be discussing septic tanks. Everything from what they are, how they work, how to install them, and how to ensure yours is running properly for years to come. Whether you're a self-builder building a new property or a homeowner replacing an old system, this video will discuss everything you need to know about septic tanks to help you make the best decision possible. Let's start with the basics. A septic tank is a wastewater treatment solution that deals with all the household waste from your toilets, sinks and showers and treats it to a point it can be discharged. Septic tanks are usually made from concrete, brick, fiberglass or even in our case plastic. Whilst on the outside it may look like a simple process, it's actually a natural one that occurs, helping both the home and the environment. Here's what a typical septic system from start to finish will look like. First, you'll have your septic tank. This collects the wastewater and acts for the treatment. You then have your drainage field, so this is typically called a soakaway. This is for dispersing the effluent. You then have your pipework, which connects the home to your tank and then to the tank to the drainage field. Then you have the soil, which acts as a natural filter for the bacteria in the effluent. So now you know what they typically comprise of, let's break down how a septic tank actually works. First off, you'll have all the wastewater from your property entering the septic tank. Once the wastewater enters the tank, some separation will start to occur with all your solids, which is known as sludge, sink into the bottom of the tank. Any lighter material such as grease floats to the top, this is your scum. And then in the middle, you'll have the liquid wastewater. Then over time, you'll have natural bacteria breaking down the effluent inside the tank. So this is anaerobic bacteria, which is natural, breaking down the solids. Then once the wastewater reaches a certain level, the effluent that has been relatively treated will discharge out of the tank, typically to a drainage field. Then once the wastewater enters the drainage field, the soil around it will naturally start to take out the bacteria and nutrients from the effluent. And then once it enters the soil, it helps to recharge the local groundwater level. Now, when it comes to installing the system, it isn't a case of just digging a hole and dropping a tank in. It takes a bit of careful planning. Here's how the process works. To start off with, it's always advised to have your site evaluated by a professional to check the soil type, groundwater level and the space available to install a septic tank. Then you want to have your system sized properly. This is to make sure you get the right size system for your household and the right size drainage field for the system. Once you have this, you can begin work on site with excavating the hole for the tank and for the drainage field. Then once you've done that, you can then safely position your septic tank securely underground. Then once the tank's in the ground, you can start to connect everything up. So this is the pipework from the house to the tank and to the tank to the drainage field. Then you should be ready to install your drainage field. This is typically perforated pipe wrapped in geotextile and backfilled with gravel. The wastewater will flow into the pipe network and disperse into the ground. And yes, there are regulations that you should be following. However, more on that shortly. First off, let's talk about maintenance. With your septic tank, like with anything, in order for it to run smoothly, you need to maintain it properly. Here's how to do it. First off, you'll want to be disludging your septic tank periodically, depending how much wastewater is going into it. This is typically done by a third party. They'll bring a tanker to your property and desludge it for you. Be sure not to flush any non-biodegradable items down the toilet. So this is stuff like sanitary towels, wipes, or harsh chemicals. You'll want to make sure you're protecting your drainage field at all times, so no parking or use any heavy machinery over it at all times. Then once it comes to landscaping, once the system's been installed, make sure to keep grass only, no trees with deep roots. Finally, you want annual inspections of your system. This can be done by a local service provider, and make sure to keep a log of any and all services done. By following these small steps, you can save yourself a headache further down the line. So how do you know if your septic tank system is working correctly and you're not having any trouble with it? Well, here's what to look out for. You'll want to be keeping an eye out for slow draining sinks or toilets, gurgling noises in your pipework, bad smells from around the tank or the drainage field, soggy or unusually green patches in your garden, sewage backing up into your home, or water pooling near the tank or the soakaway. And if you spot any of these, get in touch with a professional quickly. When installed and maintained properly, septic tanks are pretty eco-friendly. They naturally filter water through the soil, they help to reduce demand on the main sewer network and help recharge groundwater levels. But neglect them and septic tanks could cause contamination, surface water pollution or even methane release. So regular upkeep is critical. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like on it and comment down below if you have any questions regarding septic tanks. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a future video.